Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston Station, we're ready for the event.
O. Henry Middle School, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Congressman Lamar Smith at O. Henry Middle School in Austin, Texas. How do you hear me?
Congressman Smith, we've got you loud and clear. Welcome aboard the International Space Station.
Great. We're looking forward to this. Thank you very much. And we'll proceed with the questions by the students here at O. Henry Middle School.
Good morning, Space Station. This is Matthew Nelson at Henry Middle School. We have several future astronauts and scientists to ask some questions to ask you guys today. First up is Levon Midwood.
My name is Levon, and my question is for Dan. How long does it take to get in your spacesuit?
Well, that depends on the spacesuit you're talking about. If you're talking about the ones that we typically wear when we launch and enter on a Soyuz capsule, which are very similar to the ones we wore on the space shuttle, it probably takes about 20 or 30 minutes to actually put it on. And then we spend some time actually checking it out to make sure that it's leak tight and the communications system in the suit works. If you're talking about the spacesuit that we use to go outside when we're doing a spacewalk on Space Station, that one's a little bit more complicated, and it'll take over an hour to get that one completely donned and checked out and ready to go.
My name is Ireland, and my question is for Dawn. How much room do you have to move around in the space station?
We have a lot of volume up here on Space Station. It's equivalent to living in a big house, and it's divided, instead of being divided into rooms, it's divided into modules, and we can float all around or fly between the modules.
My name is Jack, and my question is for Andre. How do you go to the bathroom in space?
This is a very essential question, a very good question actually, and a lot of people think about that. Well, we don't have weight, so we have to simulate, or we have to replace that, and we do that with airflow. So you have to put on some kind of vacuum cleaner in order to get everything in the right place, and of course you have to hold yourself as well to stay in the right position. So it's a little endeavor to go to the restroom in space, but it works all fine.
Thank you.
My name is Amity, and my question is for Dan. What process do you go through, and what certifications do you need to be qualified as an astronaut?
Okay, probably the first and most important thing you have to do is you have to apply for it. You actually have to send an application to NASA to compete with lots and lots of other people that want to do this. At the very beginning of the space program, almost everybody that flew were test pilots, military test pilots. Nowadays, they represent actually a minority of all the people that actually fly. So we've got scientists, engineers, we've got physicians like Andre here, we've got pilots still, of course. We even have teachers. So there are many, many different people. I think the thing that we all have in common, all of us have completed college, and sometimes a couple of colleges, or certainly more years than the initial bachelor's degree would be. But everybody that gets picked to be an astronaut typically did very well at the things that they did before. So they were, whether they were pilots or engineers, they were very good at that. And the key to being good at those things is to choose wisely, to find something that you love to do, so that working hard at it and becoming good at it is not like work. It's more like play.
Thank you.
My name is Nick, and my question is for Dawn. What is your favorite activity to do in space?
My favorite activity to do in space is to do science experiments or engineering experiments. And we have all kinds of these that we could do on space station. Engineering experiments might be working on a new kind of toilet. And we have one up here that we call regenerative life support that can take the urine that we generate and turn it back and pump it back into, purify it, and then pump it back into our galley, and we use it for making our coffee. And then we have all kinds of scientific experiments ranging from experiments that we do on ourselves to physical science experiments like combustion and crystal growth.
Thank you.
My name is Evan, and my question is for Andre. What does it feel like to be in zero gravity, and what kinds of things do you have to do to adjust to the change in gravity?
Yeah, microgravity weightlessness is a fantastic feeling, and it's a bit like being underwater. You can imagine if you're in a pool and you're floating underwater, you don't touch anything. So it's a bit comparable with that if you want to experience it a bit. Of course, you have to adjust to that because underwater you can swim. Well, that's something you don't want to do in a space station because you might kick off all kind of sensitive equipment off the walls. So you have to learn how to move around when you're weightless, and of course that takes some time. So it's a fantastic feeling, but you have to learn how to do it properly.
Thank you.
My name is Avery, and my question is for Dan. When you look out of the International Space Station, what do you see?
Okay, well, the first thing you see in the foreground is the International Space Station itself, which is huge. It's big, it's beautiful, it's nearly 1 million pounds, and you see that all around you when you look out the cupola, for example. The other things that you see is you see the sun, you see the moon, planets, you see stars, thousands and thousands of stars, like more stars than you would see in the darkest night when you're way, way out in the country. And the stars here don't twinkle. They are just steady, piercing points of light. But the thing that's most notable is you see our planet Earth from space, and it is spectacular. Whether you're looking at the solid part of Earth, the continents, mountains, islands, the liquid, the oceans and so forth, or seeing evidence of the gas, and that is the clouds and in the Earth's atmosphere at sunrise and sunset, or the interaction of charged particles from the sun as they create spectacular auroras. Those are things you never get tired of, and it is one of the neatest things about being in space.
Thank you.
My name is Ian. My question is for Don. What kind of data are you collecting while you're up there, and where do you get the experiments and samples from?
Okay, data can come in all forms. It could come from just picking up your pencil and writing something in your knee board, which I have right here, or it could come from data that is collected on a computer, and this again can be data that you type in on a keyboard. A lot of the data that we collect comes in to a computer through the either serial ports or now USB ports, or even through Ethernet ports, and these ports are hooked up to the experiments themselves, and the data gets collected from the experiment and goes into the computer, and from there we use our radio system to relay the data back to Earth. And then we also have digital imagery that we can take, which is also another form of data, and again that gets placed on our computers and gets relayed back to Earth using our radio system.
My name is Matthew, and my question is for Andre. What are some of the biggest challenges you have faced while in space?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is not to lose items, because we're really working here in a three-dimensional environment. We use everything, the ceiling, the walls, the floors, behind the panels. So there's a lot of places where you can put something and you don't know where it is anymore. And if something is not attached with Velcro or with a bungee or with tape, and it floats off, it can go everywhere. Normally things fall down, you know more or less where it should be, but in space you would just lose things very easily. So this is one of the things that you really pay attention to in the beginning, and actually during the whole mission, always stick it to something, because otherwise it's gone. That is one of the biggest challenges.
Thanks. Hi, my name is Sam, and my question is for Dan. When do you think it'll be possible to go to Mars, and what do you think the future holds for NASA?
I think for people like us that fly in space and have dreamed about it all our lives, we almost could not go to Mars soon enough for us. The fact is, it's an awful, awful long ways away, and in order to be sure that we keep people safe, we have a lot more work to do to be able to do that. So it'll be decades, but it'll be, by the time that you grow up, by the time that you kids are certainly our age, I believe that we will have been there, and we'll be there on a hopefully semi-permanent basis. And I hope we'll also be on the moon and on asteroids. Outer space is an incredibly expansive, wonderful place, and I think it's humanity's destination or destiny to do that kind of exploration. And we need a lot of smart and energetic folks like you to help pave the way and provide the rocket fuel for that kind of exploration.
Thank you.
My name is Joe, and my question is for Don. Can you send a text message in space, and if so, is your cell phone service any good?
We don't have cell phones or iPhones or any phones like that in space. We do have this comm system, which I'm talking to you through right now. Works off a S-band, that's a particular wavelength range of radio communication, and Ku band, which is in the microwave region. And these things go through the TDRS satellite system and then back to Earth. And so we can talk through those. We can also do emails and send other text type messages through the comm system that's designed in the space station.
Thank you.
My name is Olivia, and my question is for Andre. What did you eat last night?
Oh, that's a good question. Even on Earth, I don't remember probably what I ate last night. Well, actually, what I ate, I know. There was mixed vegetables, sweet potatoes. That's one of my favorites. And I think I had some beef with mushrooms, but I'm not sure about that course anymore. So you hear there's a lot of different choices. We can choose from a lot of different foods, both on the U.S. side and on the Russian side, and we even have our bonus food. And in my case, it means that I also have some Dutch products on board. So we have a lot of choice.
Thank you.
My name is Alicia, and my question is for Dan. How do you get water, electricity, and oxygen up to space station?
Okay, that's really important. The water and the oxygen, at least initially, we bring it up via cargo vehicles. And when the shuttle was coming to space station, the shuttle would ship a lot of water that it generated as a byproduct of making electricity, and it would give it to space station. We preserve as much of the water as possible up here. So like Don was describing to you before, we try our best to close most of the water cycle or the environmental control loop, so we preserve it, because it's very expensive and difficult to get any kind of cargo, be it food or water or science experiments, up to space station. The electricity is a little bit easier, as it turns out, and we've got almost an acre worth of solar arrays, and those solar panels we keep pointed at the sun, and we basically use those in the electrical system here to convert photons into electrons.
Thank you.
My name is Jamel, and my question is for Don. How do you avoid hitting things in space when you are on the space station?
Well, there's two levels of that question. One is when we're flying around inside a space station, you have to avoid hitting things, because if you do hit something, it's probably with your head. And so you just need to watch out. It's just like on Earth, you could trip and fall down and skin your knee. Well, here on space station, you basically don't watch what you're doing and you bang your head on something. And what I think you probably really are referring to is, does space station run into other things in orbit? And one thing, it's big, space is big, and the probability of running into something is really, really small. However, on occasion, our orbit could get close to a piece of space debris, and in that case, we either change the orbit of space station, or we go into our Soyuz capsules and get ready for an emergency deorbit if we were to strike something. And we did that a couple weekends ago.
My name is Yami, and my question is for Andre. How do you sleep in space, and do you have your own bedroom?
I sleep very well in space. Well, we float. So that means that it doesn't matter where you sleep. You can sleep on the ceiling, you can sleep upright, and of course on the floor, if you can call it a floor. So it's a bit strange because you don't feel a mattress, you don't have a pillow. So those aspects of sleeping you're missing. But we work hard here, and we sleep very well as soon as we close our eyes. And we have indeed our own sleeping cabins, and that's a nice place because this is your home. You have the pictures of the family on the wall. We have our laptops. This is really our private place, and that's very pleasant. So we sleep well on board.
Thank you.
My name is Isaiah, and my question is for Don. What is a Robonaut, and what does it do?
Well, Robonaut, like the name implies, is a robot, and it's a human-like robot from its configuration, in that it's got arms with hands and fingers and a head with cameras in place of eyes. And it's the first little baby step towards making a human-like robot that could do human-like tasks either on Earth or in space.
My name is Giselle, and my question is for Don. Do you miss your home when you are gone, and what kind of things do you take with you?
Okay, and I'll go ahead and take that question. And the question was, do we miss our families? I think the thing that we miss most when we come to space is being close to our families, physically close, and being able to see them, to hug our kids, to kiss our spouses. And that's something you certainly can't do when you're on space station, but we can actually see our families and be close to them in a virtual sense through the communication system that Don talked about. And we can actually see them and do essentially a video phone call at least once a week, and we can talk to them essentially over what would be very similar to a phone call or a cell phone call from planet Earth most any time that we're free, like every day or so. But it's still one of the things that we'll very much look forward to when we get back home again. Apart from that, there's probably a few other things you miss from Earth. The things that we bring as reminders, like Andre had mentioned, was pictures of friends and family, and we have a little bit of room to carry some small mementos, I guess, things to help physically remember our families and friends here. And we can also bring some other things that we potentially can bring back with us, our notes, our notebooks, and things like that. So we can write about the experiences that we have and maintain a journal, if you will, and be able to bring that back and essentially have a more personal day-to-day connection with our experiences that we had while we're up here. It's a real precious time that you have here. We're very fortunate to be able to do this. There's an awful lot of people that are in line to come up here and continue the exploration and research on station, and that line extends all the way back to people your age.
Expedition 30 Commander Burbank, flight engineers, keepers, and Pettit. My name is Peter Price. I'm the principal at O. Henry Middle School. We would like to thank you for your time, for sharing your expertise, your love of your job. And We wish you the best in your future endeavors. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to learn about your lives, and we appreciate all you do for us and for our future. Thank you.
It was our pleasure, and it was wonderful to be with you today.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes the event.